What's up, everybody? Let's take ourselves off of mute. Let's get off on a good foot, right?
Right. How you doing? Are we still good behind me? Okay, yeah. My dog tried to knock down my green screen as we were doing the intro, so that was awesome.
Well, you called it. You jinxed it.
Yeah, I know.
That was your biggest fear, and it started to happen right off the bat. That's good.
Got it.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Moose? We got a lot of people in here already. That's great to see. I appreciate everybody. Whether you're in here right now watching live, or if you're going to watch on YouTube later, we appreciate you guys being here. We're excited to kick off the first episode of Cast and Camo. We've been talking about it for what feels like months, guys, right? I mean, it's been a long time coming, but we wanted to make sure everything was spot on and ready to go. So just to talk a little bit about the show, you've got myself. I'm Vexus_X. I've been trying to get rid of that underscore forever. It hasn't worked yet. We've got Fishstalker. Everybody knows Fishstalker. We've got Chieffoxtv, the one and only. The cool thing about the three of us, we all bring a little bit something different to the show, whether it's we've got Chief, who is a police chief, conservation officer. We've got Fish, who's a professional fisherman. I'm just a professional of making shit up. I come up with ideas. Fish is muted.
I'm talking. I was trying not to talk over you. I'm being polite. All right.
Well, there's a first for everything.
No, the first is the Chief is quiet.
That's true. Yeah. For all of you guys that know Chief, we were kind of joking before we kicked off. Like, we're going to talk tonight. We're going to talk about, fishing and hunting stories, some of our favorite fishing and hunting stories from each of us. And I said, Chief could probably fill the whole 2 hours by himself, because I've met people that like to talk, but man, he likes to talk. Banana Sack, thanks for that follow. Welcome to Cast and Camo. So what we're doing is we're starting this out, right? This is the first night, the first show of hopefully many. We want to talk hunting. We want to talk fishing. We want to talk outdoors, whether that's hunting, fishing, hiking, smelling of good smells in the woods, whatever it might be. Just the beauty of being outdoors, right? Meats. Who doesn't love putting meats? Smoked meats. The door is wide open. Whatever we might want to talk about, we're going to talk about. But we're always going to have some sort of a topic, and we're going to have guests. We already have a handful of guests lined up. A lot of them I'm super excited for. Starting next week, our guest is going to be a dog tracker that I've used personally twice already, and I'm not ashamed to use it, but I think that's going to be a really good discussion. And here's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show with these guys. I'm not an expert on anything. I want to learn, whether it's from Chief or Fish or you guys in chat. I want to learn, or the guests. I want to learn stuff. There's a lot I don't know about dog tracking. There's a lot I don't know about meat seasoning. There's a lot I don't know about bass baits or making art. There's so many things that we want to talk about and learn from each other and learn from experiences that we've all had. So that's really what we want to do. We're going to bring in, like I said, we've got people lined up, artists. We've got one lined up for this winter already. Conservation officers. We might go out and do some videos with some DNR agents and bring that video to you guys and have a discussion. CBC, as long as he doesn't hate us. I think he's gonna.
Why would he hate us?
I don't know why I said that. The dude doesn't hate anybody. It's like it's impossible for him to hate anybody.
Like the nicest guy ever.
I know. CBC, we want to talk about baits with him because he's an expert on baits. We might have fishing guides, hunting guides, boat experts, boat companies. You name it, we're going to try to find it. And what we would ask is you guys come up with suggestions. If you want to know something, if you want a topic, if you want to hear about something, if you want us to try to reach out to somebody, Chief's got connections, man. We can get in contact with people that hopefully they won't shut the door on us, right? Because of the connections that some of us have, meaning Chief. And Buzzard has hair tips. We can absolutely... Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. There's only one of us on the show that has hair. I take that as a shot, a direct shot.
I didn't say it.
I know it wasn't you. I think
I might not be wearing a hat so I could show that I actually have hair.
Yeah.
But, I didn't say anything.
Yep. I think you paid Buzzard. I think you paid him off.
Look, Buzzard and I have been friends a long time. We're just on the same page. All right.
I know.
I don't need to say anything.
Right. So let's, Chief, I kind of want you guys to both introduce yourselves, because there might be people, say, from my community that don't know either one of you, or vice versa. And since we all kind of bring a little bit different aspect to this, which is why I think it's a good dynamic with the three of us, if we could kind of go around as an introduction to the show and introduce each other, starting with Chief, what do you say? Let everybody know who you are and what you do.
Oh, I'm Chief Fox. I got a TV at the end of my name that I'd like to get rid of. Oh, never mind, Vexus. I'm sorry, I took your shot.
Yeah. Well, you can. You can.
So anyway, I was a police chief, a state conservation officer for Pennsylvania for 25 years. I got to do an actual TV show for the Sportsman's Channel for 2 years through Cabela's, which was amazing. Loved it to death.
Doing on that show?
Fishing.
What kind of fishing?
Yeah, what kind of fishing?
Cat fishing. We mainly went after blue cats. We did go after a few flatheads, like the Rock River up north of Illinois. We fished a lot for flatheads up there. We did channel cats in North Dakota, but we specifically targeted them. But the rest of the states, we basically went after blue cats. Through Texas to Florida, we did 28 states that we covered. The first year was 127 days we was on the road. The second year was like 111, 112 that we was on the road. So
a lot of fishing. We could have an entire show dedicated just to talking about what it's like, and we probably will. Just what it's like to do a fishing show. Like, a lot of us that love fishing probably have dreamed it. And you watch the TV show, you watch those fishing shows growing up. What's it actually like? You know, we can get into that. Not tonight, but at a later date.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Anything else? You want to add anything else?
No, that's basically me. Most of you knew that I was a drug agent too, my last 9 years. So I ran the North Central Drug Task Force for Pennsylvania, the Attorney General's office. So that was interesting. I had 172 guys underneath of me for that. And
I'm not sure I knew that.
Yeah,
I knew you looked familiar for a reason.
Yes.
But he's retired now, so you don't got to worry about it.
That's why my business has picked up a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Chief. Thanks for introducing yourself. How about Fish? What about you?
Basically, I've been a fishing content creator for many years now. I started out gaming, decided to switch over to fishing, and I am one of those horrible people that likes to catch every kind of fish I can. So I dabble in a little bit of everything from catching crappie, white bass. We got some amazing white bass fisheries around here. Largemouth bass, carp, smallmouth buffalo, catfish. We got some amazing, like Chief was saying, we got some good catfishing around here. Shameless plug, my biggest is like 52.14 this year. And yes, I'm saying 52.14 because I need every ounce. All right.
Just curious, is that bigger than Buzzard's personal best?
Oh, you know what? I think it is.
I thought so. I wasn't sure.
Using chicken, were you?
Using chicken, garlic chicken. I caught a 36 or 37 and a 52 on garlic chicken this year.
Garlic chicken.
But I also love bass fishing. We do a lot of bass fishing. Chief has a hatred for chicken, but it works. I'm telling you, it's every man, don't be an excuse that you can't go catfishing because you can't go get bait. There are some baits on the market that will work good that are like you can go buy from the store. But everywhere you can go somewhere and find some chicken. And
not to completely derail this, but when I do have a question right off the bat, because I've only fished for catfish a couple times, and that's been with Twitch's own Soggy Wonka Customs. I know nothing about it other than what I've watched on Twitch with the fantastic streamers on Twitch that fish for catfish and carp. Do those stinky baits work? Like when you go to that store, like do I absolutely need to make some concoction of three shots of strawberry jello, 4 shots of raspberry jello, a little bit of panko.
No, and that's honestly why I give
wave
Chief
of
a hard
wand.
time. Because honestly, compared to like cut bait, I mean, chicken's not bad. All I do, I know a lot of people swear by what strawberry jello chicken. That's the craze. If you go to YouTube, there's tons of videos about it, right? I just throw some garlic powder and cut up my chicken breast that I buy on clearance and throw in the freezer and just take out when I want to go fishing. I just put garlic powder and chicken breast. So
Have
as long as you
either
don't let
one
them
of
sit out
you
in the
ever
sun all day and you have them in a cooler if it's hot outside, they don't stink as bad.
have either one of you tasted that pack bait?
No.
No?
I don't want salmonella.
Yeah, I would never want to taste that.
You get the
Tell me you did.
I was
Like-
like, you talking about strawberry jello. And look, now you're talking my language. I like strawberry jello.
I use strawberry jello in my carp bait. So I mean, you might like that. I can make you if we ever meet you, I'll make some of that and you can eat it.
No. I
What
was
do you-
scared. I
What
want
do
to
you
eat it. I
use
was
as
just
your
curious.
carp bait? What are you
So
using?
it's also a grocery store bait. So it's panko breadcrumbs, strawberry jello, and sweet corn. That's it. And then I pack it up and throw it out there with a method lead and a hair rig, which you may not be able to find where you're at, but you know what? We can go over it maybe one night. You can tie a hair rig pretty easy if you have like 50-pound braid and some hooks, some octopus hooks. You can make them yourself or go to Amazon. I mean,
Do you want to know something embarrassing about me right
Yeah.
off the bat?
yeah.
The first time I ever heard the term hair rig was on Twitch, people fishing, and I literally thought it was some sort of like strand of actual hair, and that's why it was special. I had no idea. Like
Oh,
a hair
there's-
rig. I'm like, well, I didn't.
There's carp fishermen going over. I didn't know what it was till I started carp fishing. To be honest, I didn't think it was a strand of hair, but I didn't know what it
Like,
was.
why else would you call it a hair rig? I couldn't figure out. Like, when you tie certain jigs, you use like deer tail. You know, the hairs from a deer tail. I thought, well, it must be some sort of hair, like that when you're tying a fly, which I also know nothing about. By the way, okay. So, how long have you been fishing on Twitch, Fishstalker?
Well, the math is hard. I don't know. Several years now. We've reached the point where got partnered like last year.
Just over a year now,
I
hasn't
think
it?
it's been a little over a year now. Just doing what I love. I mean, if anyone shows up, I'm happy. I said,
IRL stream on Mixer fishing.
no, I was gaming. I was mainly Sea of Thieves
Okay,
on
well,
Mixer.
I misunderstood.
Mixer
you.
didn't
I thought
have
you-
an IRL community that you could even stream at if you wanted to grow.
That's true. Yeah, Sarah doing what Sarah does best. That's right, kicking it right off with a smart ass comment. I love it. I appreciate it. Chief has a wig. Chief, you want to show the wig?
No.
Okay. just thought I'd ask. I had to
I'm
ask.
telling you, it'd be a great clip for something.
I'm not doing it because you want me to do it.
I think it has a matching skirt, tutu or something, doesn't it?
Just content right there.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about that wig and
Well, at
Little-
least I didn't have to
little
bow
dance.
to you and do a chicken dance tonight.
yeah.
Well,
I'm
that's only
very
because you went
pleased.
fishing somewhere there was no catfish.
There was plenty of catfish there. They just don't know what chicken is. They never seen one in the Ohio River. I mean, how many of you have ever seen a chicken swimming in the Ohio River or
Been
Mississippi?
to the Ohio River. I don't know.
Never know. Yeah, I've never seen a freaking cat deer hunting until PB once last year said you're going to see a cat tonight, and lo and behold, and I laughed. I'm like, I've never seen a cat sitting in my deer stand in the woods ever in 30 plus years of hunting. And lo and behold, 2 hours later, I've got a black cat running across the field. And I'm like, that's how I came up with PB as a witch, because he is a witch. And again, he says yesterday, you're going to see a cat. What happens this morning? I walk out to my stand, there's a cat in the field. Where do these come from? I have no idea, which is why I'm going to move to Utah next door. And he's going to take this, the spell that he's got on me. He's going to take it off because he's a witch, but I love him.
Is it
Yeah,
him?
but
Do you have
if
to
you
actually
move
move
to,
there?
yeah, if you move to Utah, it may be worse.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
closer. His magic
Yeah,
might.
That's
it's
true.
going to backfire on you.
That's
You need to
true.
move the other way to Indiana.
Or maybe I just have to send him a little bit of a voodoo doll. Like there's got to be an opposite of a voodoo doll, right?
Sending someone that's put a vex on you, a voodoo doll, is a good idea. I'm just
No.
gonna throw that out there.
There's I couldn't see who that follow was.
Can I bring up something that happened today that we were all talking?
Yeah.
Anyway, I was watching Point Blank Fishing today, and I told Fishstalker I wasn't really sure that you were married, Point Blank, but stop it. But I figured out you was married very quick. When you caught that fish and your wife walked over, picked up the net, walked over, I said, "Oh, look, fantastic. His girlfriend's going to net his fish." And she laid the net down and walked away. For you to net your own fish, I knew then you were married. That was right there. I had it. I told Fish and Vex us both. I said, that answered the question for me. I didn't even have to ask.
Funny thing is, I've seen her net so many of his fish, but sometimes.
I thought it was great.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what my wife
funny.
would do. She'd just walk over and throw the net
I would
down
too.
and say, "Get it yourself."
She was nice enough to bring it to him. Mine might not even do that.
Yeah, well,
Depending on what smart ass thing I said. I mean, because it's probably, let's get real, it's probably because I said something stupid.
It's probably getting thrown at you and it's going to hit you in the back of the melon. Yeah, I know that. I know that how that goes too.
Yeah,
for sure. For me, those that don't know me, I'm Vexus. I really, honestly, I'm an expert in nothing. I really don't. I'm an expert in BSing and talking and hopefully entertaining. I've been fishing and hunting for 35 plus years. Yes, I'm that old, not as old as Chief, but that's another topic for another day. I just love hunting. I love being outdoors and I love learning, which is why I was super excited to do this. I have opinions. I can talk about things, but I wouldn't call myself an expert in pretty much anything. And here's what I'm going to say about the show. This is obviously night one, episode one of hopefully many, many, many more episodes. There's going to be things that we need to tweak and learn. We may change this or that. Like right now, I've got alerts showing alerts, but not sounding alerts. And that's to avoid any noise break as our conversation is going. I personally, I've got I maybe have to just make my screen bigger, but I can see the follows coming in, but I can't necessarily see who they are. I think the last one was Seedeye. That's what I thought. I saw Seedeye. Yeah, who I couldn't see exactly who the other two were. But thank you guys for all the follows and hopefully you guys are entertained as we go on. Now tonight we don't have any guests and we're not going to have guests every single week. But we're going to have guests as often as we can. So tonight what I wanted to do, there's Ozzy with the follow. Thanks, Ozzy. I wanted to kind of go round robin and let's talk favorite stories of fishing and or hunting from all three of us. There's always there's things that you think back over the course of the time that you've spent in the woods hunting, whether it's for big game, small game, whatever it is, fishing. There's always those special moments, and it's not always the biggest deer or the biggest fish. And Fishing Guru, thanks for that follow. Welcome in. It's not always the biggest or the best. Sometimes it's something else that ties something special to it. And it always fascinates me to hear from other people, what are those special moments that stick with you and some of your favorite stories? Let's start with Chief. We know Chief has a billion of them, but Chief, keep it to a couple, whether it's hunting, fishing, a couple of them, take your time and we can discuss.
Lord, really?
Yeah, I warned you.
Probably, right. Let me tell you, my best time was with my grandson last year, his first buck that he killed. There is nothing more special than taking a kid out hunting for the first time and they kill a deer. He actually used my muzzleloader, and me and his dad both taught him to shoot the deer behind the shoulder and low, so you get a heart and lung shot. So the deer come out of our bean field facing us and spotted him when I told him the buck was coming at us. He actually turned with the gun and the buck was facing him. And I was like, Cameron, you have to shoot this deer right now. It's going to bolt. And the deer was no more than 50 yards from us. And he's like, Papa, you taught me to shoot it in the shoulder. The deer is facing me. I says, just take the crosshair, go to his chin and drop down to the middle of his chest and pull the trigger. And he's like, but it's not. I says, just do what I'm telling you. He dropped down, shot the deer. The deer turned and ran out in the field. I knew he hit it because it had its tail tucked in behind its legs. And he ran out in the field and he turned around and looked at me and he had the two biggest tears coming down his eyes. He says, Papa, I missed it. I said, no, you hit it dead center. We walked over and of course you could see the sign of that he hit the deer really good. It didn't go 20 yards into the bean field and was piled up. But what was really good is my boy, Ryan, had his youngest boy with him, and he shot not 2 seconds after Cameron shot.
Is that right?
Oh, no.
500 yards away from us, and he killed a 12-point with a 21-inch spread. Now, Cameron killed an 8-point that had about a 17-inch spread. But both boys killed their first deer together within a couple seconds apart last year. That's probably my best hunting I think I've ever did, besides my boy killing his deer. But that's been years ago. So
I've got a question. So and I don't necessarily know your entire backstory, but when you first started hunting, what if you remember back that far? That's an age joke.
Oh,
I know, right? I'm feeling it
Chief,
tonight.
just don't take that. I mean, just fight back. Please.
When you first started hunting, like, what do you remember? What got you into hunting? Was it your dad? Was it your grandfather? What was it that got you into hunting, and what made you remember, if you can remember, what it was like to like it and what got you hooked?
Well, I'll tell you a little quick story. My grandfather got me into hunting. My grandmother passed away when I was about 10 years old, and I moved in with my granddad to keep him company. So I started working on a farm, doing everything, and we just started. He showed me how to trap. He trapped when he was young. We trapped, we hunted, and that's all we ever did. Trap, hunt, fish, up until I was 18 and went into the police academy. So I've never missed a hunting season. I got to be out there. Deer and turkey is probably my two biggest things, and then catfishing's my third. And then streaming's like my fourth. If I could catfish every day, I would be on this river in a boat every day fishing. But my grandfather is what brought me through this.
And I'm guessing your grandfather gave you all sorts of secret knowledge, secret hints, things that he's learned from the past.
Sure.
Yeah. It, for me, that's like, I love hearing that because, and especially you took the dynamic of going with your grandson and then taking it all the way back, and you learned from your grandfather. And that I think that's one of the things that people miss out on nowadays, of you bringing youth out into the field, whether it's fishing or hunting, and how important it is to get young kids and young adults into the outdoors. There's so much electronics going on nowadays, right? You got your they make the Game Boy now. I think they even make the Game Boy in color. It's crazy what these kids
a little
have.
bit more than the Game Boy.
Yeah, right. But it's awesome to hear.
Yeah,
it's awesome to hear that.
One thing I don't want to see happen to our youth is the first day of deer season come and they say, "Oh, Dad, Granddad, we got a PUBG tournament or something like that going today. I'm not going to be able to go hunting or fishing."
Oh, man.
That, I think, is the worst words I ever want to hear from our children, because This
that would be
outdoors
horrible.
is very important, I think, for the future.
If this is I don't think this is a Texas only thing. Is there like a youth season in your states?
Sure.
Okay, I'm pretty
Yep.
sure most states would probably have that, which I think is
Yep.
great.
And that's
I
what
mean,
the two
unless it's the
grandson
dad
I
out
did
there
last
using
year.
the kid and not letting him.
And both the grandsons, they killed them on Youth Day. So that's, where we couldn't carry a gun, they could.
What about fishing? What's one or two of your favorite fishing stories?
My son was my top one. When he was about 12, if he's in here, I apologize, Ryan, ahead of time. But when he was about 12 or 13, he was at that part of his stage of his child youth where he was going the opposite way from his dad. You know how you always have your kid around you, and then they hit that certain stage and they want to stay away from, they start hanging out with their buddies, doing other stuff, wearing their pants down below their ass, just
Exclamation point belts.
That's just because I don't have a butt. All right. That's not because I want him down there.
Yeah.
Does everybody in Texas have a Hank Hill butt? That's what I want to know, Fish.
Right. I do. A butt is like indentation. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I need to get some suspenders or something. I think they make some you can wear under your clothes so I don't look like Steve Urkel or something, but
yeah,
sorry, Chief.
I'm doing those goblin squats. All right.
I'm gonna unsub, unfollow everything. Yeah. All right. So anyway, my son was turning the opposite direction from me. So I caught him doing something wrong. I'm not going to go into it. He was put in the house for 2 weeks. He wasn't allowed out to go play, do anything. So that Saturday, me and one of my buddies was going flathead catfishing. So I told Pam, I'm going to take Ryan with me. Well, he was like, no, I'm not going fishing. I'm not going out. I said, yes, you are. Your butt's getting in the truck and you're going with me. So we took him fishing. He wasn't there 10 minutes and caught a 25-pound flathead. I could not keep that boy off of my rear end the rest of my life. He was there when are we going fishing, Dad? I'm telling you, that 25-pound catfish changed that whole boy's life. Changed it right then. So that's why I always tell people, take a kid fishing. And, the people that do say, oh, I hate fishing, you ask them. If they ever went fishing, they're going to say yes. Did you ever catch anything? I guarantee you their next sentence is going to be no. And if they would just go out to where they caught a couple of fish, they'd be a whole different person. Definitely. I think that's one thing we need to instill in people trying to get kids to go fishing.
Is that why he constantly calls you while you're streaming? Because he still to this day won't leave you alone.
Fishing.
Yeah. He wants to. When we go fishing, Dad, I'm streaming.
I'm going to tell you what. Any of your kids, my daughters, both of them have hunted with me. One killed a buck. The other one has not yet. So, but they both own guns. They both shoot. They both enjoy it. So, I don't know. Hopefully, someday we can get the daughters to go fishing, but your guys are going to have to go with them because I ain't going. I'm staying home.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys.
I don't know. I think we can all agree. I mean, especially being a little older as we are now, going hunting and fishing isn't always about harvesting an animal or catching a fish. For me, it's kind of my therapy. To be honest, just getting out and away from, I mean, I would say away from technology, but I stream it a lot of times, but you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's getting away and, there's something about being by the water or out in the woods and away from it that is just, it's good for your soul. And I think that's once people start doing that, they're like, hey, I'm stressed. I mean, I'm going to go fishing to kind of breathe, or I'm going to go hunting and
Yep.
get in the woods and sit in the deer stand.
Yep.
And you know what? You may not get anything, and you might, but catching fish or harvesting animal a lot of times for me is a bonus. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but
No, 100%. Like, just I can use this past weekend or this weekend as an example. It was therapeutic for me after a hard week. I was excited because it was opening bow season for Minnesota for whitetail. I was excited already, but I got to actually go to the hunting land. I slept in my fish house for 2 nights. It was just me, and it was beautiful. The weather was perfect. I come back tonight, like it was like I just took a vacation, and that's not an insult to my family. Like I needed to get away from you. It was just, I just love being on the water, seeing this, like the sunset last night was like, I'll always remember that sunset. And there's sunsets that I still remember from hunting years ago that like, I still have it in my mind. Like, God, that was beautiful. And it was last night. So I totally agree with that statement. 100%.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to get at with the children, not taken away from being out there, but the children don't look at it like we do now, of the sunset, the relaxation, because all they're thinking about is I could be home playing my Nintendo or whatever. All I'm trying to get at is, you know, if they catch something, and so take them a few times. Just don't take them once and end it, and you know, and let them talk you out of it. Because I guarantee it, once they start catching something, they will be there on your heels the rest of your life.
just as a father whose kid is obsessed with going fishing now, just when you take a kid fishing or in the outdoors, you got to get in the mindset of it's not about you at that point. Your whole thing, my whole thing, is to make sure that that person has a good time, that they catch fish or they do something or they enjoy themselves. So 'cause that's the future of our sport, right? Of our sports, like that's the future, and it's also like it's a thing that I I appreciated sharing with my father, and I hope one day my kid loves sharing it with me. Sadly, it's like we don't go and when it's 1,000,000,000 degrees outside in Texas. So now we're starting to go again. And I would say, don't think that you need to go out there and catch the biggest fish and the most fish all the time. You got a little kid and you're taking someone fishing for their first time. I've helped so many little kids catch their first fish. Go out with a little worm and bobber, find yourself a little bluegill paradise and have fun. I mean, like just catch numbers. They don't have the attention span that we do.
Yep.
But a little worm and a bobber and a kid is going to think they're catching a whale.
Yep.
All right.
Bluegill. That's all it takes sometimes.
Just go to blue. I would highly recommend going bluegill fishing first.
And for those of you that were in on the side bet of how long it would take into the show for Fish to bitch about the Texas heat, the winner was at 36 minutes.
Side bet, because I mean,
no,
that's
I'm
a good
joking.
One. Yeah.
Totally joking.
I love Texas, but the heat this summer has been miserable. All right.
Yeah, yes. I don't envy you guys one bit at all.
Like, oh, it's 75 degrees. I'm dying. Screw you. I mean that wholeheartedly.
Fish, I had to turn my heater on last night in my fish house. I had to turn my furnace on. Just gonna say.
That ain't even right.
Our 80s, our lows in the night were in the 80s. I was in my streams at 11 o'clock. They're like, hey, what temperature is it? It's still 91 degrees outside.
Yeah,
I'm still sweating bullets here.
I tease, but I wouldn't. I mean, I'm in Minnesota. For those that don't know, I'm in Minnesota. We clearly didn't have it as hot as you guys, even Chief, for this summer. But we had our stretches of 90 plus, 95 plus, and it was like, I'm not going out there. Like, why would I? I'm sitting in air conditioning. I can go fishing on my screen right now. I'm not going outside. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna melt.
I will say, I will love Texas in the wintertime when y'all are frozen. I can still have open
I
water.
love the cold. Jay Marie, last night, I think it got down. I don't know if Buzz is around, he might be able to help. I think it was like 48, 49 degrees, 50 degrees, something like that. But I was chilled because I was sitting outside all night. So I didn't have it on the whole night. I just turned it on. But I want to get back to something that you said, Fish, about it's not always about the catching. It's you want somebody to catch, and that the youth, that's the future of our sport. And how when you take a child or a kid out to fish for the first time or the second time, it's not about you. It's about them. It's about the experience. And just to kind of continue on that, that's not just kids. It's anybody. I brought somebody out last year for the first time in probably 20 plus years that they'd ever fished. I didn't care what I did. It was, I'm going to put that person on fish. I'm going to find fish. I'm going to go to the best spot that I know. I'm going to give them my best gear. I'm going to give them my best lures. I want them to catch a fish. You become a guide, whether it's an 8-year-old or a 38-year-old. And a 38-year-old can get hooked on fishing or hunting the same. I took a guy hunting whitetails, rifle hunting, who is an ultra fidgety dude. Like, this dude can't sit still to save his life. And he's like, I want to try hunting. He was 48 years old. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if that's a good idea, but we did it. And he was like, I'm hooked. Went and bought a rifle, went and bought all the stuff to stand. He got hooked. So, just that mindset of, and that's what I love about, like, even the people on Twitch that are fishing. It's that mindset of we want more, right? We want to bring in people because we understand how awesome fishing and hunting is, and we want to help people get those experiences. And I think it's super cool. And I'm glad you brought that up, that aspect, that point.
And what you're saying with like us live streaming, I know Chief, he does a lot of gaming, but he's been doing more and more. I think the cooler it goes out, the more catfish and other things he's gonna be doing. But he's gonna catch some catfish on chicken. But but I think one of the greatest things, and I've heard it several times, and it honestly, like, it means the world to me. Like, people will come in and be like, I haven't gone fishing in 20 years, but since I started hanging out here, I just started to go give it a go again, and I'm hooked and I'm loving it. And it's stories like that it make it great. Like, we're out there, if we're live streaming fishing, hunting, we're not out there trying to hide anything, right? Where it's not like, oh, here's my secret spot, here's my secret bait. No, most of us are like, okay, hey, this is what I'm using, this is how to do it. Oh, you don't want to do that? Here's how to tie a knot. And I think that one-on-one interaction is where the live streaming of fishing has got a great advantage over, say, a YouTube video. Because if you have a question, someone can ask it right there, right? And then you can either, if you don't know it, like as the content creator, odds are someone in your channel is going to. And it's an amazing community of people. So,
and I'm going to call out Joker on the same topic. It doesn't even have to be somebody that you brought with you to go fishing or to go hunting. It could be somebody that was there, just a passerby. And just the other day, Joker caught, and it wasn't a great fish. It wasn't, no offense, Joker.
Wow.
No, I mean, it was like, I don't know. It was like, I don't even remember what it was, but it wasn't like this monster fish that Joker was super excited about catching. It was just a normal carp or a catfish, whatever it was. And there was somebody that was walking by, and they had never, it was a midfish. Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't small. It was just a fish, right? For us, it was just a channel cat. But there was somebody walking by as he caught that. That was his PV, right? But they were like, whoa, well, check that out. And to Joker and to us watching, it was like, yeah, I mean, it's a fish. I mean, it's okay, but it's a small channel cat. But to that person walking by, that could have changed their entire outlook on fishing. Like, whoa, I could catch that here. Like, for me, I was watching that. I was working, so I was working and lurking. But I heard that interaction. I was like, that was cool. And I didn't say anything. And I don't even know if Joker picked up on it, but I was like, that was pretty cool. And I've seen that on multiple streams where somebody's walking past or hears something or sees something. And it's like, hey, and the streamer's like, yeah, give a little bit of this. And that person might go buy a fishing rod and get out fishing right away. You never know. It's pretty cool to have an impact on somebody's life like that. I want to do that effect. Now we can't do that. We're not all Joker. We don't know all the things like that Chief knows. Like Chief has forgotten more things that I'll ever know about catfishing. for sure. Which is why I want to go catfishing with him, because I want to learn from somebody that has so many years of experience.
I want to pick his brain.
It's why I ask Joker and Point Blank and all these guys that I know that do catfishing. I ask questions here and there, and Soggy and whoever it is. I ask questions because I want to learn. I want to absorb that stuff. And again, going back to kind of my point from the beginning of this, that's why I'm so excited about this opportunity is to learn from each other, learn from some people that we'll have on as guests, and learn from chat.
That actually reminds me of something of when I was first setting, because this is like the first year that I started targeting big catfish, and I was picking Chief's brain. And we haven't discussed this, but I think a really awesome episode, especially one week where we don't have a guest, you were breaking down where catfish like to hide. Like if you pull up a topographical map, he's like, okay, well, here's the depths. Let me look at it. Okay, you're going to find him here, 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 and here. I'm like, he's got some amazing knowledge. He's like, okay, this is what you want to look for. This is what I look for. And
yeah. I mean, he's sitting there with that smirk because he knows, and that's awesome to me. And like when I've gone with, and he's been pretty quiet on purpose, I could tell, but when I've gone catfishing with Soggy's similar. And I even told Soggy, I'm like, you need to pick Chief's brain because the dude knows his shit, but so does Soggy, and so does some of these other guys, right? To me, it's amazing. It's like watching an NFL game, right? You're watching professionals, and is Chief a professional? Is Soggy a professional in the sense of they're getting paid to do fishing? Well, and she's experienced in the past, yes, to a certain extent, but the knowledge that you have acquired in that specific type of fishing, it's incredible to me. And it's fascinating to listen and learn from, whether it's Chief, Soggy, PB, whoever it might be, somebody not on Twitch. You talk to people that have experiences and you learn, and I think it's awesome. Soggy doesn't fish.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but
yeah. Me?
No, Chief.
No, Chief. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Sorry to call out your knowledge like that.
Look, I enjoy fishing. I really do. And one of my biggest pet peeves was learning the sonar, the side imaging from hummingbird. That right there will catch every fish in the water. If you're
going to have an entire conversation about side image.
We can have an whole episode devoted to that.
It is so knowledgeable. And I'm going to tell you, I was lucky to have a lot of people from Hummingbird help me when I first started to understand that. There is nothing better than that knowledge of that side imaging. And you can target almost every fish in the water with it.
Mm. And my electronics in my boat have the side imaging. And the way I have utilized it so far is I push some buttons, and then I see this thing in the middle, and then I see things to the side. And then whoever's in my boat, they're like, what's that? And I'm like, well, see, so this side is what it's looking like over here. And then this side it's looking like over here. And they're like, well, what's that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know where that is. Over that
way.
Yeah, I have no idea. Is that a log? I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that this is side imaging. That's what we need to know. It's side imaging, but I couldn't tell you what's on the screen. I just see blobs. I just see darkness and lightness, and I don't know.
Side imaging. We're talking like
down imaging, side imaging.
Down imaging. Just the regular sonar. If you can get it set up right for catfishing, like Chief and I were talking about it one night. I mean, you can literally see the fish come up in the water. You can see your bait. You can see the fish come in, and like they're coming in and they're like doing like up and down and up and down. You're talking like the scent trail, right?
Yep.
And if you're ever trolling for catfish or any fish, I mean, there's so much to go into.
See, Kelly understands. It's the side of something. It's the side of the transducer looking that way. That's what side imaging is. But what does it show you? Well, I don't know. What's over there? I just don't understand how to read it.
Basically, side imaging was made to be able to read the bottom of the lake, the river, whatever, see the structure, be able to identify the structure. We had a tournament, Cabela's King Cat tournament in Kansas 1 year. And we had a bad, tragic accident that happened where a young girl had drowned in the lake, and we went out with the boats, and Phil King and John Jamison found the little girl with the side imaging. These things are amazing.
Oh shit.
Yes.
But they use those search teams now. I mean,
yeah, the police had divers for 3 days, and we come in for the tournament, and Phil King and John Jamison found them that quick.
So, question on that, because we're getting kind of off topic of what we're going to be talking about tonight, but I think this is a conversation. Yeah. Yeah. We're 13. We can do what we want.
All right.
So with your history in law enforcement and your knowledge of this fishing, how has like live scope, things like live scope, where it's super detailed and you're looking forward, are law enforcement agencies leveraging those, using those, learning those? Is okay.
They all have them, like especially the Ohio River. They all have the side imaging. They have the cameras. They can drop them cameras down if they see something that looks like something like safes, where people will rob a store and take a safe at night, burglarize it, take a safe and dump it off of a bridge somewhere. And they get that information. They can go with that side image and they can see that square shape, but then they drop the camera down to make sure that that's what it is. So, I mean, it's amazing what we use this stuff for today. And they're all
crazy. Yeah, Kelly, there goes your plan.
All right, Kelly, don't rob a bank.
Just rob a bakery.
Ooh.
Vehicles, you can
that's why I would be a bad criminal. Like I would, like my friend McCrew, if I had a friend that's a criminal, he'd be like, hey, we could go rob that store or that bank. And I'd be like, or we could go next door and rob the bakery. They've got the best Long Johns. We need some donuts. That's what we need. Forget the safes. We got to crack the safes. All we have to do is go in there and reach in and get some donuts. Run. Hell yeah, I'm in. Count me in. I like donuts. That'd be great. Yeah, Ozzy. See, everybody loves donuts. Why doesn't a bakery get robbed more often? I don't understand. Like, that's the first place I would go.
Kelly.
Well, yeah, I know.
First of all,
sorry, Kelly. I take it back.
Wait a minute. They're stale by the time they go rob it because all of them's left. They can't go burglarize it. They got stale donuts. You'd have to do them when they're making them.
Maybe.
I want my donut hot.
I want a lot of things hot, but a donut, I'm not going to be very picky. Hot, cold. Is it donut and it's cream filled? I want it in my mouth hole. Give me some sprinkles and I'm happy. We're good.
I am like really biting my tongue right now because I know I'm like 12 years old, but sorry. I can't.
Nobody listens to this. I'm just saying, like, donuts are good. It's people just, I don't know. People, to me, we're so far off topic. I apologize. So one thing I want to know from Fish, actually,
donut in your mouth, we're good.
See, Joker knows. I do have a question for you, Fish. Being that we're doing a fishing and hunting and outdoors-ish podcast, I know you've made comments as we've been talking and preparing that you don't have a ton of experience with hunting, but you'd like to. What experience do you have with hunting? What have you hunted in the past, if anything? And if you want to learn, what are the things that you want to kind of go after in a hunting aspect?
So here's my story. I mean, when the hunting, I've always wanted to hunt. I was that kid that, Saturday mornings, instead of watching cartoons, I was watching hunting and fishing shows. Something that's always interested me, but like a pretty common story, I grew up with a single mom who did not hunt or fish or anything. Mm-hmm. So everything I've learned, and especially fishing, it's been self-taught for the most part. Hunting is just one of those things. Like, I'm very big on it, even when it comes to fishing. If I'm gonna harvest an animal, or if I'm gonna kill a fish, I want to utilize it to the fullest. I'm not someone that's gonna catch a carp or whatever and throw it on the bank, because I just have issues with that. So I don't want to butcher I'm sure I could get to the point where I could take an animal, but I don't want to waste it. And I also am not a millionaire where I can't afford to go, you go get a deer processed, you're looking at what, $200 to $400. And I mean, that's just, or the time. But I went to go. I got my hunting, my hunter safety done in 2020, and I was with my old neighbor who has now got more hunting property out there in East Texas. I'm hoping to get out and go do some hog and deer hunting. But as soon as I got my hunter safety, the world turned to hell. And because we had a hunting trip planned, we were going to go out turkey hunting, and well, COVID. So most of mine has just been fishing. I spent a lot of time out in the woods. I mean, I grew up in the woods, but no.
I don't want to interrupt you, but so one of the things that we're gonna have to work on that I can see so far is this is an on-air production meeting. We have the alerts showing up, but I'm not seeing the follows in chat. So I'll have to figure that out. So I don't want to lose track of. I think it was 66 mobile. I think Bezel unfollowed us and then refollowed us just so he could see his name on the screen, but I'll call it out anyway. And now I just forgot who the heck that was that just followed. I saw it. Dang it!
If you followed,
something toe, Joe, something toe.
Thank you so much. We're not trying to ignore you. We're working on it, and we love you. We appreciate you. And it's day one.
We'll make it better.
We're gonna get much more better.
Love my toe. Yep, I knew it was something with my toe. I'm pretty sure that's Sarah and Kelly's joint alt account because they both love.
It's a new person. Make us feel good, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
That's a new name. That's a new person in my book. Yeah. All right.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I was excited to hear that you wanted to learn about. I'm the worst. I know. I'm sorry. To learn more about fish or hunting.
Always wanted to go. I refuse to waste an animal. I'm not going to kill it if I can't. I used to have a neighbor who would supply me with fresh, venison and pig and stuff all the time because he had a hunting lease. And then I'm like, hey, finally we became good friends. He's like, hey, let's go. And then I got screwed by COVID. So I mean that's my life. And then he got cancer and everything just kind of snowballed, and then he had to build a house.
We were having fun. We were having fun on the show so far. We're an hour in, and then Fish had to come in and kind of ruin the mood. So thanks for that. I'm just.
You're welcome. I'm not the one that brought up dead bodies. So
that's true. Wait, hold up. Queen Fish is just following out. What the?
Unfollowed.
She did the same thing as Bez, unfollowed, and she just wanted to see her name in lights. Yeah. Go figure.
Oh, they're pretty in lights. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, CBC, welcome
CBC. We hope you're still good with coming on one of these nights too, because we already kind of told people that you would. I know we talked about it a while ago, but we'd love to have you come on one of these nights and talk about what you got going on there and all your baits in the store and all that.
Now, does he have to wear a suit and tie like we do next time?
CBC does what he wants.
He needs to wear his military outfit, his uniform for sure. He's got that buzz cut. He's fresh. He's got the fade.
Yeah, I was actually watching him on his show.
I just wondered if he was in the Marines. I never asked him.
I tried to rate him, but he decided to shut off his stream. I wanted to see that buzz cut. It looked
that buzz cut is something else.
It looks good.
And then you add, shameless plug for CBC because I know him and Tech has been. Most of us know Original Tech. He's taken some time off from streaming, but Tech and CBC are doing their own fishing podcast. I think on Tuesday nights. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on Tuesday nights.
Yes. And bourbon.
Yeah, I was. If CBC would have been in here at the beginning, I was going to make a joke that, hey, welcome in. This is going to be all about bourbon and talking about fishing baits. just to kind of make a joke about it, but that we appreciate everybody for coming in and checking us out for the first time. And it's going to be a work in progress. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, a self promo for ourselves on our own channel, if that even makes any sense, but our VODs will be put on YouTube. And I think we talked about this earlier. We're going to throw some of our own stuff on YouTube too, because why not? We got cool clips. We might as well throw them on there. So we're good.
Might eventually get to the point where we start adding it to other podcasting sites and stuff too. But right now we're just trying to get everything worked out.
Yep. I have a kilt on my head. This is one of my favorite hats, man.
No, that isn't my favorite hat. My favorite hat is the one with the blonde hair. That's my favorite hat.
Yeah, I got it. That comes up for special occasions. Oh, we got some first time chatters. We got Crazy Cat Lady. We got Perky.
I
We're in
see
trouble.
you, crazy.
You know, the other thing I forgot to bring up at the beginning, because I was just so excited. It's like a little kid in a sprinkler system. If y'all see the bottom corner, the bottom left corner, yeah, jazz hands. We do have one current sponsor. We're still working on the second one, and we're working on more. But the first sponsor that we got, Texas Select Barbecue. Fishstalker already got his bag. Pull out the bag, a 4-pound bag.
I think it's 1.5, but yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 4
I'm gonna
pounds.
try this tomorrow for the juicy pig. He said it was 4, but it's
oh.
I don't know. It says net
So
weight
apparently I'm getting the 4
1.5
pounds. Fish got the 1.5 pounds.
Yeah.
So clearly I'm
it's
better.
because he only had to send it to Texas. I mean,
True.
Hey, but I got a good koozie and a sticker out of the deal too.
Oh,
but
nice.
I'm excited to try that on. I'm gonna look. It doesn't say on the package you can do it on tilapia, but I'm gonna throw it. It says salmon and other things. But I'm throwing on tilapia.
Oh, and I can't remember. See, we're working through the bugs. I have the command. I forgot to put the website on. So we'll get the website on. But you guys check out Texas Select Barbecue. I've heard incredible things. I know he's won a bunch of awards. And for me, the cool part about this dude is that he grows his own stuff. Right, Chief? Am I saying that right? He grows his own peppers.
You know,
for the season. He has his own farm. He is amazing. He has won hundreds of barbecue contests. He will be on this show too. And he will be like a regular as much as we can, like maybe every 6 weeks or something like that. He'll be on the show, and we're going to be doing all kind of recipes. I think it's going to be a blast. He has numerous different types of rubs and seasonings. You guys will enjoy it, I'm sure.
Who doesn't love a good rub?
Honestly. I mean, one of the greatest things about hunting and fishing is eating it, right? I mean,
absolutely.
I do a lot of catch and release.
Fish, I love eating fish, but I hate cleaning fish. So when I go fishing, I'm usually a catch and release person. Every once in a while, I'll keep something here and there.
Your life, my friend.
I know the Bubba. I know.
I'd love my Bubba. I love my Bubba. Not sponsored, but Bubba. If you're out there, you want
Bubba. Hey,
Bubba blades. I'll tell you what, I'm a big fan. It's much worse. Like when I went out to Michigan this year to go with my dad, I bought him a Bubba Blade electric fillet knife and gave it as a housewarming present because their house is on the lake. I'm like, here you go. So I knew when I went down there, I'd have something to fillet fish.
Yeah. I've been slowly. Chief, do you use an electric blade? You do? Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
I change it for catfishing. You don't have to
I'm old
skin
school.
it or anything.
I know.
If you've ever now I also use a fillet knife too, once in a while. But if you have an electric knife, there is nothing better than that to fillet fish.
You get it down. It's easy to learn. I was intimidating at first, but once you get it down, especially with here like crappie or white bass, if you and you just one other person go together and you have a good day, you could have 50 fish.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys do it, but I do it with the electric fillet knife. I'll get my fillet, and get it off the skin, and then I'll just take a regular fillet knife and cut out the rib cage. Some people have different ways, but that's how I do it for the most part.
You've never tried the electric knife, Carolina Bass Company? I think you would probably enjoy that.
It was the same way until I finally until I moved to the DFW area, and my neighbor introduced me to him. And he was a huge crappie fisherman. And the first time I saw him out there and we played probably, at least 50 fish in record time. I'm like, I need to get myself one of these.
You cut the time in half compared to a fillet knife. Yeah.
Yeah. Since I'm telling on episode 1, I'm already sharing some of my embarrassing secrets. I'll share another one. So my first experience with the Bubba was my friend handed me the Bubba and he's like, okay, go clean the fish. And it was walleye at the time. So I went downstairs to our little fish cleaning station and I open up the container with the Bubba and I'm sitting, I'm like, why is there 2 blades? So I had no idea like how it works. So I just was shoving things into the slots and turning it on. I'm like, this isn't cutting anything. These things are awful. I'm like, screw it. I went and grabbed the normal fillet knife and started filleting it. And he's like, what took so long? I'm like, dude, that thing sucks. Never using that again. And then I go to North Carolina this past spring and go fishing with I Kills Ducks, and he whips out the electric blade, and he's like a magician. And I sat there and just watched it because as a guest, I'm not cleaning any fish. You want to clean fish? You clean fish. I'm joking. But we only had one place.
I tell you what,
we only had one place to clean the fish, and we only had one knife to clean the fish, so it was kind of by default. But I watched him doing it. I'm like, by the end of the week, I was like, oh, I need one of these. I don't even keep fish, but if I had one of these, I'd probably keep more fish. I love fish. I hate cleaning them. I just don't like the time. I'm lazy. I'm not lazy. Usually by the time I get into the house, you've been out in the sun for 10, 12 hours on the boat. You're tired. And for us, usually it's you've already had an hour to 2.5 hour drive back to the house, and it's almost midnight. I haven't eaten in 14 hours, and I don't keep this body by not eating, right? So I got to eat, and then I just want to lay down. I don't want to clean fish. Catch a nice fish. Cool. I've seen that fish before. Throw it back. Move on to the next one. I get home, I can go right to bed. Simple as that. I'm a simpleton. What's up, Mr. Moses Mike? Thanks for coming in. So, what if you could fish? If you could pick the first thing that you're going to hunt for, what are you going to pick?
If I would love to go deer hunting, honestly. That would be. I know the easiest would probably be to start with like turkey, but I'd love venison. I love the taste of venison. I wouldn't even care if it was a doe. Tell you honest truth.
Does are the best.
I want to fill the freezer up with venison because in the whole night it's a lean, good meat that is.
Oh, it's so delicious.
I'm all about protein nowadays, and that venison is tasty to me. So
yep, it's so good. It's so good. But I would say
around here, I'd say elk. But
elk, obviously. I'm just curious. I picked up on something you said, and it was your friend or neighbor has hunting land.
But what he did, he was my neighbor for probably the first 12 years that I lived here. He retired, and his dream was to always buy a place with a bunch of property, build a house, and just the first part is just like his house and garden and all that, and all the rest of his land is just for hunting. So he doesn't have to drive out to his deer lease. He doesn't have to do anything. So now he just finally finished his house. I think this might be his first year. He goes out. He's got tons of hogs, and deer.
Doesn't everybody there though?
He has a we call him a deer highway here in Texas. I don't know what they're called. Like a section of his land, like 2/3 of the way down, is like a cutout for electrical lines, and they just call them deer highways, where you put out your stand, right? Or either tripod stand or a blind or whatever there, and just wait. Or it's Texas, you can put out a feeder.
True. I think Fish and Game has purposely made things like that easier for Texans, because we do feel sorry for you guys for the heat that you have to go through every single year. So it's like you have to deal with 7 straight weeks of 115 degrees. So we're going to let you put a feeder up for your deer and hunt over that feeder. It's only fair.
The deer, but the big thing, the way I think a lot of the feeders for deer, but a lot of the people around here use them for hogs. And it's such a huge problem here. They just breed like crazy. So we're the state where you can hunt hogs out of a helicopter if you want now. That's legal because Texas. But it doesn't matter. It seems like you can never catch up. Like I don't even think you need a hunting license for them if you're on private prop. You may not.
Probably not.
I think you just need. There's no limit. But
right. So since we kind of have an open forum tonight for the first show, you brought up something that is intriguing to me, which is hunting hogs from a helicopter. I happen to know somebody that did it last year. I would love to know Chief's perspective on this, with your history in with the DNR and conservation. To my knowledge, they get in this helicopter and they drive around to find these groups of hogs. and it's like you're in a war zone. You just unload with an automatic weapon or some sort of automatic or semi-automatic weapon.
They're not automatic weapons.
They're probably not
They're not
automatic.
weapons of war either. All right, let's get that out of the way.
Well, it's
a lot
you're
of
just
people
flying over a flock of hogs and shooting the hell out of a flock of hogs or whatever, a gang of hogs.
Let me ask you:
they don't stop and pick them up.
Are they allowed to use ARs, fish?
Yeah.
All right.
Not there's
semi-automatic weapons.
It's still semi-automatic.
No. I'm just the only thing
in Texas. Actually,
I would
allowed to use night vision.
The only thing I would worry about is safety of where the bullets are going. That's it.
I mean, honestly, most of the time the places they do that, I don't think there's many people that do that.
Right.
But it's going to be in big open farmland or big game reserves or whatever.
I know you people are sitting here saying, "Oh, no one would do that." Well, I'm going to tell you, you're badly mistaken. I've seen people do some pretty stupid stuff in their life. They don't look beyond the target. And I
thought it'd be really cool to go after those with the night vision scope, and it's legal to do because you can do that. They're the only thing allowed. You're allowed to hunt hogs with night vision scopes in Texas. And I always thought it would be really cool. And I've sat and gone down that rabbit hole on YouTube.
What about your coyotes? Do they allow you to hunt them with night vision?
I think so. I'm not 100%, but I'm
not sure.
I'm not 100% on that one. I think so, probably, but.
I would, because I know there are organized. No, everybody's gonna laugh, and I'm gonna laugh too. I would have a hard time. Let's see if I can say this with a straight face. I would have a hard time choosing in Texas whether I would use or go on a night vision hunt for hogs or a night vision hunt for Sasquatch, because I know that those also exist. Because I know people that have gone on professional Sasquatch hunts using night vision in Texas. Both sound incredibly fun, and I probably would want to do both. I wouldn't want to get forced to pick one or the other. But my question, Chief, my question really is on the ethical side. When you're flying in this, you're doing something super cool, right? You're flying in this helicopter, and you're shooting hogs from the helicopter. Cool, for the most part. They don't stop. They don't drop the helicopter and go field dress the hogs and throw them over their shoulders. They just leave the hogs lay. They don't pick them up. As a conservation officer of so many years, what are your thoughts on that type of action? Is that hunting or is that killing?
That is killing. But here's the thing. It's the same way with Kentucky right now that we're dealing with raccoons. Raccoons are overtaking, and they're trying to control the population. So they're letting people just kill raccoons and leave them lie. That's against my inner thoughts. If I'm going to shoot something, then I want to use that. And
whether it's legal or not.
Now, these Texas farmers and people in Louisiana and Oklahoma, I understand the problems they're having with these pigs because they'll ruin an entire field for them.
So much destruction.
And if this is the only way they can control them, then yeah. But I would think that they would have to at least pick them up and move them to a certain location. You know what I mean? Instead of just leaving them lay.
I'm going to say most of the people that shoot them are going to eat them. And I think they're tasty, honestly.
We had to pick up the roadkills in Pennsylvania. Right. And we had deer pits on game lands. And we had lime there that we would put the deer in, and there'd be a shed there, and we'd have to spread lime on top of them. I think it should be about the same way for something like that, if that's what they want to do.
CBC brought something up in chat. He said in Texas, aren't they considered a pest? Which I agree, and I think they are. And they
I would imagine
on them. I mean,
so just on the aspect or the on the flip side, right? So we've said it's killing, and right, that's a pest. There's that kind of that gray line, that gray area between hunting and not hunting, but controlling, habitat controlling, herd controlling. Asian carp, they're a pest.
Yep,
they're a pest. So do we? We have them up here, but not as far as I am. So
they're selling them for 5 cents a pound here now.
No kidding.
To the dog food companies.
Yeah,
really?
Yes. We just took almost 30,000 pounds of carp Asian carp out of Kentucky Dam, the lower side, and it was all given to the dog food companies.
It's a great way to deal with a lot of these invasive species. If you can figure out a way for either there to be a market for people to actually want to eat them, like you can with like the hogs or the carp, for dog food or whatever, that's going to get an incentive for people to get them and go after them. And like I know the hogs, like there's people that make their living by going out and trapping live hogs off. Like they're like, hey, you got a landowner, you got a hog problem. I'm gonna put my traps out here. I'm gonna come out and they can catch 30 in a freaking night, and then they just go take them to the butcher, and then the butcher pays for them. It's they got livelihoods. I mean, it's
Yep.
crazy. But the problem is how quick the wild hogs breed and how many they have.
They are.
And
I
how
mean,
much
to me,
destruction, whether it's farmland or even if it's just your own personal property. They just destroy stuff. Like I was telling my friend moved out to East Texas. He had to build his house, and they had to bulldoze an area for his pad before they put the concrete. Wild hogs came in and destroyed it. He had to pay to have them come out with a bulldozer again and fix it again.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you're like, I understand why people may not like.
What do you mean the fish that had a bounty? What do you mean? I'm intrigued by that. I've never heard of a fish that had a bounty.
Tag?
Like a tagged fish? It was like a job for us. Oh, OG, fantastic. Wonderful. You are a freaking Mountain Dew genius. Awesome. Knows what we're talking about, but OG knows, and that's all that matters. It has to do with Mountain Dew Slurpees, and it's delicious.
I was listening this morning, but I'm not sure we want to go down that rabbit hole of your hunting trip this morning. I enjoyed it. Let's not go down that rabbit hole right now, though.
No, because the ASMR stream title just gets me every time I turn it on.
Oh, the ASMR? Yeah. Well, that's technically what it is. I mean,
it's genius.
I was waiting for you to scratch the microphone or lick the microphone or something.
No, see, what did I say? What did I say this morning? I live my life based on what I learn and have learned from Amaranth. Shout out to Amaranth.
Amazing business person.
Amazing.
I mean, she makes all kinds of money.
She doesn't scratch the microphone, Chief. She licks that SOB. She turns that into an ear.
Okay.
And licks it.
No. Let's not get banned on our first night on.
I know. Gonna get canceled already. Well, we had a great time as Texas Select Barbecue as a sponsor for a half a night.
Yeah, right.
CBC, we may not be able to have you come on if we instantly go black.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I tease. Unfollow. Yeah, there we go. I ruined it. I ruined it all already. First night didn't take long. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later.
We might as well get it over with tonight, and then we can
just go ahead and get it done early.
3 months of planning, and I ruined it on the first night. Oh well.
Like I said, I'm really excited about the format we got going. I mean, because just being outdoors hunting, fishing, and I think even cooking. From smoking meats to fish to cooking different recipes to wildlife art, like the possibilities are endless. Like I want this to be a place, we're gonna have fun, but also maybe learn something, because I think that's one of the greatest things of why I'm kind of like a jack of all trades when it comes to fishing. Like there's some people that are like, I'm only gonna bass fish, right? Everything they're like, I'm no shade throwing at you diehard bass fishermen, because I love bass fishing, but it's like I'm only going to bass fish, and I'm going to turn up my nose and say everyone else that does, carp fishing or whatever catfishing is wrong, and I'm right. Like I love learning how to catch different fish using different techniques. I don't care what it is. I know I'm throwing shade, but I think I wish that more fishermen were like, hey, why are we going to talk bad or down to each other because we go after a different fish? We're all out there enjoying wildlife. We're enjoying our sport the way we want to enjoy it. I hate seeing people put other people down because, okay, you like carp fishing. and I bass fish me. So you're horrible. Blah, blah, blah. No, I mean, do what you enjoy. Do what you love. If you love to hunt, go hunt. If you love to duck hunt, go duck hunt. If you love to bass fish, go bass fish. If you love to do it all like me, do it all. I mean, you do you and live your best life. I think it pisses me off to see like gatekeepers of I'm better than you because I do this type. I'm like, no. I'm like, we need to support people like, or I don't know if you guys do it, like someone's trying to celebrate their personal best, right? It might be a fish that is way smaller than yours, but dang it, can't we just celebrate everyone's personal best? Like they're out there, they did their best, and they're happy, right? They're happy. They caught this. This is their biggest fish of their life. We should be
100%.
happy for them, right?
Yep.
Instead of hey, congratulations, that's awesome. You see it so many times, especially on social media. Well, I've caught I catch that all the time, every day. I'm like, no, man. But sorry, I know I'm going on the soapbox, but it
I think
me
it's
off.
I think it's a good discussion because it doesn't just happen with types of fish that people are fishing for. And I know where your head is probably instantly gonna go to the whole chicken for catfish and whatever, but that's funny, right? That's a joke, and that's
we
funny.
give each other a hard time, but
right.
I mean,
but there is, and again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but I have noticed that there is like a certain level of like, I'm just gonna pick on, and CBC, I see he's still in chat. I would love his take on this. Maybe this is something we can talk about when he's on. But bass fishermen,
in the bass fishing world, and it's not just bass fishermen, though.
If you don't use a
I've
lure,
heard so many, well,
whether it's a worm or a fake frog or a spinner bait or this or that, and you say, where are you going? Going fishing. What's that in the bucket? Well, it's bait, live bait.
I'm like, oh yeah, no,
you can't use live bait to catch bass. The hell you can't. What do you think bass eat in the lake, in the river? They eat other fish.
Well, it's a cheat code, man.
Yeah,
like if I wasn't so cheap and didn't have to buy or had a place for live bait that was close, I'd use it more often.
Yeah, but it's that stigma of live bait for a fish versus non-live bait. It's an interesting dynamic between that combat or that competition between fishing of live bait versus not live bait. I just want to catch fish. I don't care what I use. If I catch fish, cool. If it's on a lure, awesome. If it's on a live bait, I don't care. Doesn't mean anything less to me. That's personally.
No live bait for bass tournaments. Well, I mean, I see that and agree with that. I hate to say it, because I mean, it's a cheat code.
It is, but it's
a cheat code. I don't have a problem doing it when you're not in a tournament, but I think the equalizer for a tournament would be you don't want to be using live bait. You're gonna have to show some skill. It doesn't. I'm not saying this a hard way. It doesn't take much skill to catch a fish with live bait. I'll do it all the time. I love it. I think it's a great way to fish. But if you're in a tournament where there's like money on the line, I want there to be skill in using a presentation. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. You can disagree with me all you want, and I'm not going to think you're a bad person.
And I probably will disagree with you for the fact of argument, not because I actually disagree with you, but I like to bring up both sides of the point where should it matter? You can take a live bait and need a special way of presenting that live bait, whether it's at a certain depth, at a certain point of structure, or whatever it might be. Again, I have no honest bias one way or the other. I just find it as a dynamic in the fishing world, not just Twitch, but in the fishing world, it's live bait versus not live bait.
We all just agree that Florida fishing is a cheat code. Or ocean fishing.
Even fishing. That's not even fishing.
It's not even fishing. It's like dropping your line in a freaking barrel of fish. It's actually 100% amazing. Out of jealousy, I'm saying this because I would love to go fishing in Florida or in the ocean. But yeah, 100% jealousy that I'm saying that.
Nothing against. I have nothing against the Florida fishermen other than that they're fishing in Florida and I'm not. That's it.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
But yeah, if you don't if you watch people in Florida, if they drop their bait down, and it's a shrimp. We all know it's a shrimp. If they don't have a bite within 35 seconds,
Oh,
fish aren't biting. Fish aren't biting. Fishing sucks. It's an outgoing tide, not an ingoing tide. You know, I hear it all the time. It's like, I will sit for 4 freaking hours in 35 below weather in a fish house waiting for a bite, right? It's it's like 2 completely different worlds. Florida, cheat code, 100%.
100% cheat code.
preach.
I'm jealous. I am.
Preach it.
But yeah, I'm jealous. Oh. Chief,
You
there you go.
You said that you're sitting in your fish house, even though that it's 75 degrees and you're in shorts in your fish house.
Look, it's still roughing it. I have to bait my own hook. I have to take
Drink
the
his
fish
own
off.
adult beverages. I mean, it's a
I have
rough
to
life.
walk outside to pee when it's that cold out.
So
I'm just saying.
So have you ever thought just to sit on the ice and put your little dipstick in there and fish?
My dipstick.
Yeah, I was say, where are we going with this?
Yeah,
Where's that
mean,
going?
Your little fishing pole with the flag on it.
Oh, the tip ups. The tip ups.
Yeah.
You're talking about tip ups.
Oh, yeah, just the tip up.
Yeah.
It's the tip up. We've there's been plenty of times where we have. Now the thing with tip ups, if you're sitting in a house, you can only have one. You put multiple tip ups in a fish house, you're asking for a tangle that you don't want to deal with. Do I put shorts on in a fish? Absolutely. I've got clips from last year.
Oh yeah.
I was wearing shorts and no boots.
Yeah.
We weren't even sitting in a house. We were just sitting on the bench of the fish house fishing outdoors. It was a balm. It was a great 36 degrees that day. It was wonderful. Now, if I'm fishing all by myself, I'm 100% poo bearing it because it's 75 degrees. You got your slippers on. All you have to worry about is the game warden showing up. That's it.
Worry about that if you're actually following the law, which is
okay. Now, speaking of that, I'm going to switch gears again. In Minnesota, talking about ice fishing in Minnesota, if a conservation officer shows up to our fish house, they knock on the door. I'm doing this is like a play. I'm doing the sounds and everything. And they'll announce themselves, DNR conservation officer, may I come in? I use my favorite line from one of the Simpsons episodes where Milhouse goes into the comic book store and says, "Can I use your bathroom?" And the store owner says, "No, you may not." That's the line I use to the DNR agent. No, you may not. Unless they have a warrant, they cannot come into that fish house unless we give them permission. I could have 45 walleyes spread out on the floor of that fish house, but if I don't give them permission, if they can see in, right? You're the cop, ex-cop. If you can see in the fish house through the windows, they can see 45 walleyes. They're coming in with or without your permission. But if they have no reason to come in and no warrant, they can't come in. Was it similar in Pennsylvania? Is that normal? To me, it's normal, but that's what I've grown up with my entire life. So I'm curious to know from a conservation officer side of things from a completely different part of the country, is it similar?
Here's the thing. A conservation officer, all they have to do is have some type of probable cause or suspicion. Say someone's over here fishing and tells me this fish house, they're over there catching fish. Too many. They got way too many. I was just over there talking to them. That gives me the right to enter your building at that point. So what I will say is all the ice fishermen that I checked in Pennsylvania, and a lot of them I checked through January, February, into March, we never had one fish house. Never. I never seen a fish house. Now, they seem to be coming up more in the last 10 years than anywhere. Because
they're fishing in the open, is what you're saying.
I'll tell you right now, we did have a few that would set up like a wind tent
Sure.
To break the wind on the one side. That was it. I never had these buildings like you got. Hell, that's better than my house. What you're in?
I want to go glamping.
Yeah, I mean,
it's glamping on the ice.
Glamping
for
on
sure.
the ice. I'm just telling you, if I ever go
We got
ice fishing, I want to
satellite
build one of
dish.
those ice condos, glamp it up.
We got
have
satellite
TVs
dish. You've got
heaters
TV, whatever. Yeah, throw a
old
pizza in or some pizza rolls. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if I ever go ice fishing, that's what I want to do.
it's the craziest thing I ever seen on the ice. Well, I actually got a guy one time with 100 fish over the limit on ice, and I don't.
What kind of fish?
He was catching walleye. He was right. I mean, now the limit at that time was 7 walleye. Now that has changed in year to year. He had over 107 walleye when I walked up to him. And the guy just turned around and looked at me and said, "After you sight me, am I going to lose all these fish?" I said, "Yeah, I'm taking every fish."
Every fish, every rod, every reel.
How long he had been there, but he claimed that he was only there for like 6 or 7 hours. And I mean, he was catching one after another after another. I've never seen anyone catch that many fish ever in my life anywhere. And
he played that all wrong. The second you would have asked me that question, I would have said, I don't know. They're not mine. I don't know how they got there.
It's and the way it worked in Pennsylvania, you had a regular fine scale that you had, and each fish that you were over the amount was another $25.
Oh,
so each fish is added on is $25 each fish over the limit. That was the
what were you allowed to take? Were you allowed to take not only the fish, but was it? I'm assuming he loses his rights to a license for a certain amount of years.
Well, he would have lost his license, I think, for 3 to 5 years. That would have been up for the commission for review. So we didn't do that. I didn't make now unless the guy was like super, super bad and horrible with me and everything, then I would have
had 100 over the limit. You throw the book at that guy. Oh my God.
We did, but what I'm saying, I didn't make a recommendation to Pennsylvania to have it at the max. I let the commission make that decision. They knew there's 100 fish over. They could see that. So what were they going to do? They probably gave him the full 5 years that he would have lost his fishing privileges. But hell, I used to stop guys every day without a fishing license. People fish without fishing license all the time. I mean,
so I want to come back to that point, but I first want to go to the question that Kelly asked, which I think is a good question. She said, "Did the fish get destroyed, or were they given to someone to eat?" And I'm actually really curious on the answer to this, because I would assume
you in Texas.
I would assume they're just getting thrown out or destroyed.
Right, so here's what happens. If you guys know anything about law enforcement and evidence, all evidence gets destroyed after the court hearing. So we have to freeze the fish for the court hearing. So we have to have places that we can freeze them fish with an evidence tag. No one else can go into that except, and you have to sign a book when you go into evidence. It's pretty messed up.
No way.
So after you're done, the fish have to be destroyed as any evidence.
That's crazy. In Texas, I know for a fact when you if you're a game warden, I think just because they got some TV shows about it. At least here in Texas, if they bust someone as no fishing license or over the limit or something, they confiscate the fish. They most of the game wardens around here have a list of people that are down on their luck or could use the fish. So instead they go and they go to their list. They're like, and most of them, if you were working a game warden, your people, you're like, hey, today we came across someone illegally killed a deer, and I know this family's in need. They can donate it. They just have like they write it off. Like they have to write it out. Like you have to get a written thing.
With deer. and we take
They do it with deer and fish,
the fish
around here.
The problem with the fish is you've got to wait till that court hearing.
Texas, apparently.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah.
So I have to have the evidence. If
I understand what you're saying.
you throw out a McDonald's bag along the highway and I write you for littering, I've got to go back and get that bag and keep it.
In Texas, it's going to go back to, if they're going to deny it, well, then who's the jury going to believe, the officer or?
The judge could. The judge could be, but usually judges do not get involved.
We'd rather give it to a family in need and risk that. Because, I mean, who's going to be like, oh, this person... I mean, if you get to that point, you could even call in the family in need. I mean, if it got to that point. But
say you've got a guy and he goes down, we're not allowed to take money from someone. So say he pleads guilty to the citation and he decides to go right then to the post office and pay that fine. Then we could probably give them fish away without a problem at all. The problem,
I'm not a game warden. I just know that they do that because, you know, there's the Texas game warden shows that come on and they do it on, you know, quite a bit, even with fish.
And that could have changed in the last 10, 15 years too.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So this could all change as it goes on, because I know a lot of our laws have changed. I mean, the fines are going up more and more. Now
a lot of technology has changed. You can take a picture, you can get a video or a picture. So they do take it, they document it,
right?
But then they'll go donate it. Like, so it's not like it's 100% on the word. No, they're gonna photograph it.
Right.
I mean,
now deer was a whole different ball game. We just took a picture with 35 millimeter with the deer there, and we would take that deer and drop it off at a butcher house, and they take care of it, donating it to the veterans or whoever that signs up. We have a list of people who want deer, the same way with roadkills. If it's a good roadkill, then we call the person and they come out and we wait for them to get there. That's how it used to work.
I'm banking on that to happen one time. I was close last year. There was a beautiful deer and it was obviously freshly hit. And I'm like, oh, this is my chance. But I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready. So I went back to the house, came back, and that deer they already taken it. And I was like, oh, just once. I should have just pulled right over, called it in and said, please bring me my tag. I would like to take this deer and I'm going to eat it because I love it. And it's mine. I want to call it my own. I want to pet it, and I'm going to butcher it and eat it because it's delicious.
There you go, Liza.
Wow. You get yours Tuesday, don't you?
I'm excited to try this.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Texas look,
Kelly, I'm not above roadkill. Depending on where the deer is hit, especially if it's fresh, really all you need is the back straps. That's all you need out of the deer is the back straps. The one that's been hit, you know, the ribs are probably, all the legs are broken most likely. You know, there's no roasts that are good. It's all bruised. The back straps, man, very rarely are those back straps ever are
First thing I eat. That's the first thing I eat.
Well, if they get hit by a car, the back straps are usually not going to be too bruised. That's going to be pretty intact yet.
The only one that thought Vex was about to admit that he was going to try to hit a deer. So I thought that's where he was going with that. I was like, I almost
definitely not worth it. That is definitely not worth it.
To go take out a deer. Yeah.
I almost got it last year, but the damn sucker jumped.
No, it's the only thing. It's the only roadkill that I would like. And by the way, I did look up boudin, and I'm out. I'm not eating boudin.
Good.
No.
Wait a minute. What's boudin?
Is good.
See, he doesn't. You don't know what boudin is either?
No, I don't.
That's because we're north
like
of the Mason-Dixon.
And rice and seasonings and deep fried, and there is links too. But yeah, it's delicious. I don't care. It's good.
We'll see. Maybe I'll try it yet. Maybe now I said yet. Sarah's gonna rip on me for saying yet, but maybe I'll try it.
It's gonna be like eating a pickle. I hate
any pickles. No, you can't eat pickles.
No, you can't eat.
Pickles are delicious.
Pickles are horrible.
No. That's where I worry about your taste buds.
Just wait.
I thought about this. This is completely off topic, but that's okay. I thought about this very hard after your whole pickle stream debacle, Chief. I kind of want to open a restaurant, because here's the problem with restaurants and pickles. You can go into any restaurant and get like a cheeseburger basket. You're going to get a cheeseburger, you're going to get fries. What's going to come with it? A slice of stupid pickle. You know what that pickle does? It sits in that little basket, in that little liner, and it starts infiltrating the bun. All the pickle juice gets into the bun. It's like little termites. All those pickle juices getting into that bun and getting in onto the fries. And then you take a bite of the fry, and all you taste is what? Pickle. Then you go.
You don't like a pickle on a Chick-fil-A sandwich? Like
No, whoever came up with putting pickles on a hot
It's like having
chicken
relish.
sandwich.
It's like having relish on a hamburger too. I mean,
Chick-fil-A?
No,
I mean,
can't do pickles.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
Wait, okay, so Chief, have you ever had fried pickles?
I don't
My
want.
wife loves fried pickles.
No,
They're okay.
I would
prefer
actually
my
try
pickles
it
cold.
that way. I would actually try it that way.
They're like make them into like little pickle chips, and they put a breading on them, and then they deep fry them.
No, I take it back.
Frying a cucumber is what you're doing, right?
Cucumbers.
I said you're frying a cucumber is all you're doing.
Deep fried pickles are awesome. I don't know why you guys are hating on
A
pickles.
cucumber is different than a pickle.
Really, Vexus?
You didn't just say that, did you, Vexus?
Cucumber
What
is
do you think
different than a pickle. Is it not?
I think a pickle is.
A pickle is a pickle.
No, it's a cucumber.
No, a cucumber is a cucumber.
Pickled cucumber, Vexus?
Yeah, it's a pickled cucumber.
Hold up. A pickled. No.
I'm sorry, brother. I hate to lay this on you, but you.
Really?
Yes, it is. A cucumber is a pickle.
I thought they were like closely related.
No,
But I literally thought they were two different
related.
things.
Yeah, you can't get
Yeah,
it.
you can't get any closer. Yeah.
Well,
Oh my
I don't
lord!
Oh.
I honestly didn't know. I thought a pickle was a pickle. It's just a different version.
I don't
So
think
like, if
cucumber
you
was
got a
just a
pickle
bigger
jar with the
thing of a
juice,
pickle
you run
than
out, you
pickle.
can throw some cucumbers in there.
Kelly,
Bam, and a little bit, you'll have some
you live
pickles.
this down, Vexus.
Well, let's move on to a different topic. This is totally off topic.
No, I mean, let's
we have
explore
not
this.
gotten to my stories of my favorite of
All right.
fishing and hunting.
All right.
Yeah, Joker knows. Leave me alone.
All right.
Look, I'm going to say this: whether it's a pickle or a cucumber or a pickled cucumber or a cucumbered pickled, I ain't eating it either way. So it really doesn't matter to me. So there you go.
Do that again.
Again.
That's right. All right, so we've gone off the rails already. A couple of my favorite fishing stories growing up. Compose himself. Some of my favorite memories have nothing to do with actually catching fish. I would go to my great aunt's house. She lived on the chain of lakes, the river system that I grew up by. And we would get, for me, I don't even remember the age, 8, 9, 10. So waking up at 7 a.m. was, crazy. But I would go to her house. My parents would drop me off and I'd be so excited because I loved going fishing and she had a boat and we didn't have a boat. And we would go out onto the river. And I was kind of scared because you'd get out onto the water and it was just fog everywhere, right? She knew the river and knew kind of her surroundings and where to go. But I can almost feel that moisture in the air, that fog as we're going down and thinking, man, I wish I would have put sweatshirt on or pants because it was in the summer. And it just that memory of going down the river with somebody that was special to me was awesome. And we very rarely caught fish. And when we did, the one thing I remember about catching those fish when we did catch fish is we would put them in a descaler. That's how I learned like how to kind of prep fish. We'd come back with these bluegills and she'd throw them in this bucket and this thing would spin. whatever. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? Why are we mutilating these fish? I had no idea what was going on. And they'd come out with, all the scales taken off. I'm like, well, that's one way to do it, I guess. So my first experience of cleaning fish was descaling, which is probably why I hate cleaning fish so much. What else? I can't not leave out the first time I slept on the ice. Always going to remember that. It's cool. And then another ice fishing. I'm going through a bunch of them because they're going to be quick. But one of my favorite of all time stories. Hold on. Can we go back? No, we're not going back. We're going forward. We're going to move. We're moving past it. We're moving forward. We're moving on up like the Jeffersons. My sister, I was pretty young, but my sister was, I think, a senior in high school. And her best friend had a foreign exchange student from Argentina. And it was in the middle of the winter, and he wanted to experience things, right? Argentina, he's in Minnesota. So we're like, okay, we'll take him ice fishing. He was like, yeah, that's great. Let's do this ice fishing. I mean, he didn't say, yeah, let's do this, because he didn't really speak very good English, but you get the picture. And we went out in the van and we get to like a lumberjack I can't even read that right now. I'm in the middle of a story. Don't distract me. And we get, we're driving down the road, and I know exactly where we are. And we get to the lake and we start driving out onto the lake. Normal for us. And the guy's like, well, where's the lake? And we're like, well, we're on it. And he's like, what do you mean? And my dad, you're only going, 5-10 miles an hour. So we kind of slow down. We open the van door, and he looks down, and I said, you're on the lake. And I've never seen anybody panic so hard, so quickly. He grabbed the sides of the van. He's like, whoa, what? He had no idea that when he said go ice fishing, that we were going to be driving onto the ice to go fishing. It blew his mind. And I'll never forget the look on his face, the sheer terror. And maybe that makes me a masochist. I don't know. But it was
from someone from Texas.
It was pretty funny.
Driving on the lake is not normal.
But it is for us. It is. It's like, it's
for
no
y'all,
big deal.
It is. Yeah. But I'm telling you what, like the thought of driving a vehicle onto ice.
Yeah.
I can understand why that'd be freaking out. I'd try to hide it, play it cool, but I might be freaking out a little bit inside. I'm just saying.
It was funny to me. I felt bad for him, kind of. He got over it. We explained it to him as best as we could. The language barrier made it kind of extra funny, because he basically thought he was going to die, and it was hilarious. My favorite hunting story is my uncle. And I loved growing up hunting, because it was time that I got to spend with my dad. And I'm lucky enough to still have my dad around, and he was the best man in my wedding. He's my best friend. I can talk to him about anything, right? And he brought me up and teaching me the concepts of hunting, the morals of hunting, the ethics of hunting, and everything that goes into it. And I remember sitting in the old camper waiting for opening morning, and I couldn't sleep, and the guys were playing cribbage, drinking Jack Daniels on the ice, and then, I was 12 years old, 13 years old. Here, take a sip, and take a little nip, and then 13, taking a little nip of Jack Daniels, you're about to die. You just burned your entire insides. But my uncle hunted with us for 30 years, obviously not with me, but he had been hunting for 30 years, and he had never shot a deer ever in 30 years. And they always would kind of tease him. And he was one of those types of guys that he was easily ribbed. You could tease him a lot about something or anything. And they would always kind of tease him, like, do you not see the deer? Why don't you shoot the deer when you see the deer? That's kind of the whole point of us being up here. And he never really gave an answer. So one year they decided to say, we're gonna teach him a lesson. So one of the guys, now keep in mind, the guys that we hunted with were all attorneys. So they're, intelligent. But one of the guys went up a day early. He went into the woods, brought a little something, and he went to where my uncle's deer stand is, and he set up this, you can buy those like lawn ornament mannequins of deer with the antlers on. He bought one of those, brought it into the woods, and set it down about 40 yards from my uncle's stand. Went back to the camp. Everybody knew that this deer was standing there at my uncle's stand, except for my uncle. And they said, okay, we're going to bring him out in the morning. And no, so I'm going to do a sidetrack. You had to bring him to his stand. He would not walk to a stand in the dark alone. He would not walk from the stand to the truck, whether it was dark or light, by himself, because he got lost in the woods one time and literally was miles and miles and miles away. So we always had to bring him in and out. But so everybody's like, oh, what's going to happen? Because they wanted to test him. Like, does he actually not see the deer? Or does he see him and just not shoot him because he feels bad? Like, really, what is it? We're about to find out. So the opening morning comes and everybody goes out to their stand and they're all sitting in their stand waiting for that first light. You can't miss the deer. It's sitting 40 yards right in front of his stand. So it's not like he can't see it. And they waited, and first light came up, and they waited and waited and waited. And about an hour and a half later, kaboom! And everybody, you can hear, whose gun it is. And they all went, and he tied a rope around that deer's neck, and he dragged that deer all the way out to the truck and laid that deer there. And they all came out, and he said, "You sons of bitches." Joke is on you. I finally shot a deer. But which I thought was hilarious. I thought it was pretty funny and in good heart. And finally, about 10 or 12 years later, he finally actually shot his first deer. And he was always the guy when we would shoot our deer. Fish, you talked about field dressing, and that's one of the things that has kind of prevented you from maybe pursuing some hunting. Since he wouldn't shoot the deer, he wanted to contribute. And that's one of the morals of the story for me, is just the sense of you're with a group of, whether it's guys, girls, a mixture, but you're with your hunting buddies, your hunting friends. Everybody wants to contribute something, whether it's shooting an animal, harvesting an animal, helping, whatever, this and that. His method of contributing to the hunting party was he would do all of the field. He would field dress all the deer that were shot. So I remember, and I walked up to him after he shot his deer, and it was standing by it. And I said, "Al, take a step back. Your days of field dressing deer are done. I'm going to field dress your deer." And it was like he felt that, like almost like that emotion of 30 plus years of trying or whatever it was, or hiding it, didn't want to shoot a deer, but his way of contributing instantly changed from just field dressing deer to harvesting deer. So that was really cool for me to be a part of and see. And I'll never forget the memories of being with those guys, and a bunch of those guys have passed away. The practical jokes that they would play on each other and the things that they would do, it was really cool. So over the course of the many years that we've been hunting, just the memories of spending time with friends and family, whoever it is pretty special. That's my favorite hunting story. I don't have our agenda up anymore, but we're coming up on 2 hours.
Coming up on that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty good.
So I guess one of the things I'll bring up, I kind of brought up at the beginning, but upcoming guests, we've got, his name is Jaron. He's going to be with us next week. We're going to have the same layout. It's going to look a little different once we have a guest with us. But Jaron, who has a most wonderful dog who tracks deer, tracking deer with a dog is not legal in all states. And I think that's going to be one of the parts of the conversation with Jaron is, why is that? What are the benefits? What are the pros and cons of using a tracking dog? How it actually works. It blew my mind the first time I saw it. It was nothing like I expected. I think we'll be in discussions with CBC to have him on at some point soon. Is it Bill from the Texas Select Barbecue?
Yep. Wild Bill.
Wild Bill. Bill will be on with us, I think, in early October. And then we did get confirmation that another guest who is, I'm not even going to drop the name. I don't want to drop the name until we get closer. He is a very, very, very well-known outdoors artist. Would I be saying that correctly? If I keep myself vague a little bit, he's a very well-known outdoors animal artist, and I am super stoked to talk to him. And I hope everybody can get there, and we'll announce that all. But if you guys want to stay tuned with what we're coming up with guests, topics, join the Discord. We appreciate the follows. We'll be posting things in there as to, no, it's not Bob Ross. That would be an incredible interview. That would be an incredible interview. Kelly asked a question. Go ahead, Fish.
Along that, we're trying to get game wardens going over a bunch of different stuff from multiple states. I think the idea is we're gonna try to get some guides as well.
Biologist,
Biologists, yep.
biologists. We're going to have land managers for fish and game where they have the game lands. They're like in control of all the game lands, the land managers. So
I think all three of us are pretty excited about the things that we're going to be bringing for sure.
Oh, and the cooking. I'm excited about the cooking of game and fish and recipes and all the different stuff that good old Wild Bill is going to help us out with.
It's going to be great.
So
wondrous.
If we could have Wild Bill come on and we get our deer this year, Vexus and fish, we could have him help us make jerky right on.
Yeah.
And I really want to try his fish seasonings as well. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting making myself hungry. But
I know.
I think that's a big part of the outdoors, and like we said earlier, is preparing the fish or game that you've taken. And if you're going to do that, you might as well do it.
Have good recipes, right? Yeah. Also have good seasoning.
I always love learning new recipes.
Kelly, you stop. Somebody ban Kelly, please, right now.
It'll just be cucumber seasoning, Kelly.
I hate all of you guys. I hate it. I hate it here. I'm done. I quit. I'm done. Unbelievable.
Kelly can make a pickle cake.
No. Oh my God, that's so gross.
Can you imagine? I mean, it can just look like a pickle. Gross. She's so talented.
Oh man. All right.
I'm here.
Hey, Chief, how about any final words from you tonight?
Yeah. Don't forget to follow all these guys. Vexus, Fishstalker, not me.
Right.
Follow them too. Make sure you give them a follow. Check them out on their streams. They
in the morning, y'all. That's the plan.
Yeah.
There you go. Fishstalker live in the morning.
I'm gonna be sleeping in the morning. Okay.
Right. Chief will be live.
Are you gonna whisper while you fish?
I mean, maybe, but my wife and kid went to bed now, so now it's ASMR fishing. So yeah.
Do the ASMR stream for us tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right now.
There it is. There it is. That sexy, deep Texas whisper. Sure do like them French fried potatoes.
Here's my final words. Thank you guys for all coming. I really appreciate y'all. Love all your faces.
Thank you so much. I know.
Oh, go ahead, Fish. Go ahead. No.
I know we've missed a lot of follows tonight because we're still working kinks out. But if you did follow tonight or beforehand, or you're just here on our first night, thank you so much. I know it really means a lot to us all. And if we didn't individually thank you for following, it's definitely not because we don't appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, we'll get better. And I think the only fitting thing, and there is JB Fishing with Dad. Thanks for that latest follow. The only fitting thing on our first show is to raid Mr. Fineo, the king of Twitch fishing, on his first night back.
Oh,
he is live. It's his first night back after his charter season. So I think we give him a raid and bring everybody over there and see what he's going to catch. He's back, baby. That's right. I'm excited. I'm excited for some Fineo content.
Oh yeah. That's what we refer back to. Florida is broken again.
Yeah.
Or is he in Florida right now, or is he?
He's back in Florida. Yep.
Okay.
He just got back to Florida. Yeah. So this is his, he's back for the winter. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us and having fun. And I hate all of you.
Just on YouTube and other places. It will be uploaded if you missed the show.
Exactly. All right.
See you guys tomorrow.
See you guys. See you. Bye.
like we're